Repeated vandalism at a women's health center. Coming up on WUFT's First at 5. Video of the suspect and why workers at the center think he did it.
Plus, Trump's transition back to the White House. We give you the details about the appointments he's already made in administration.
And an update on Gators men's basketball coach Todd Golden. We have the details about the welcome he received at his first game since accusations. First at 5 starts right now.
First at 5. From the University of Florida's College of Journalism and Communications, you're watching WUFT News.
We begin this evening with the city of Archer. Leaders will host an emergency meeting to discuss how to pay back taxes. Welcome back to WUFT's First at 5. I'm Juan Chaoui.
And I'm Roches. Thanks for joining us. A forensic audit revealed the city owes more than $170,000. WUFT's Bianca Smith is live in the studio ahead of tonight's meeting.
City commissioners in Archer meet to discuss the city's ongoing financial struggles. Interim city manager Deanne Altop sent a letter to the governor stating that the city is in a financial emergency and they just don't have the money. We told you last month about a 3-month forensic audit that was examining the city for potential fraud, misconduct, or other irregularities. The audit revealed the city owes the IRS approximately $177,000 in employment taxes. This is nearly 1/5 of Archer's annual budget of just over $1 million. If a city fails to pay their taxes, there could be service cuts, municipal bankruptcy, or state intervention. Taxpayers will get an update on the city's financial situation at the meeting in just half an hour. The public meeting will start at 6 p.m. and will be at Archer Hall. The city will file the correct forms by the end of the week. Once the city files the forms, they will know exactly what's owed, including any penalties. Live in studio, Bianca Smith, WUFT News.
Ocala firefighters want to remind neighbors of easy ways to practice fire safety after responding to what authorities called 2 preventable fires over the weekend. The first fire occurred in northeast Ocala. A grease fire ignited on the first floor of an apartment building, causing damage to the apartment where it started and neighboring units. The fire was contained and no injuries were reported. Crews responded to a second fire in southwest Ocala. Authorities say the fire was caused by a generator housed inside of a storage closet. No injuries were reported, and firefighters want to remind you to never leave a generator indoors. Crews say you should stay alert, never leave food cooking while unattended, and turn off the stove if you need to leave the kitchen. Remember to keep a safe distance between cooking appliances and flammable items. Make sure you clean cooking spaces regularly to avoid grease building up. Have a working fire extinguisher in the kitchen and know how to use it.
Bread and Roses, a women's health center based in Gainesville, faced 2 cases of vandalism, and employees believe it's the same person. The center provided this video. You can see the person throw piles of trash all over the front entrances. The person used a broken can to carve into the front door. The first incident happened just after Florida passed new abortion laws. The second incident happened just after the election. The center states it is outraged and asked the public to help identify the man in the video. Taking a live look outside on our DOT cams, it's been another cloudy day across north central Florida. A new storm might be brewing in the tropics. UF forecaster Matthew Clark is tracking the chances of tropical development.
Yeah, there's a large area of tropical development in the Caribbean right now that's expected to move its way into this high chance of development region, 90% chance of a tropical storm over the next 7 days. That's a 60% chance over the next 48 hours. Just 2 days ago, this was only a 20% chance. So it's looking like this is going to be our next named storm, which would become Sarah. If you recall, Rafael just went off into the Gulf of Mexico, kind of did a couple circles and rained itself out. However, we are going to be keeping a close eye on this. I'll have more on that coming up in Maine weather. Now, right now, it's a beautiful night out. There are a couple overhead clouds right now. Temperature 79 degrees. A little bit windy out there. Beautiful sunset getting set up. A couple clouds. And even though those clouds are overhead, not much rain on our radar right now. It's going to be a beautiful night.
Thanks, Matthew. In his first appearance on the court since details about a Title IX complaint became public, Gators men's basketball head coach Todd Golden was met with applause before the team's game Monday night. WUFT's Jack Meyer is live in the studio with an update on the investigation.
Head coach Todd Golden released a statement over the weekend emphasizing the confidentiality of the Title IX complaints and that he is actively working with his legal team to handle the matter. Golden coached the Gators to defeat Grambling State in the O-Dome Monday night following the team's impressive performance. Golden addressed the media about the allegations he now faces.
Kind of expressed my statement on Saturday, and obviously would love to be able to give you more, but that's all I can give at this moment. And so any questions in regards to the ongoing inquiry, I'm just going to refer you to my statement on Saturday and apologize that I can't comment any more than that.
As of now, Golden is set to coach the team on Friday when they travel to Florida State. I'll have more on Florida's win last night and the latest in Florida athletics later on in today's show. Reporting live in the studio, Jack Meyer, WUFT Sports.
A machine recount is underway in Alachua County after the results in Alachua County Sheriff's race were too close to call. There was only a 400-vote difference between Republican candidate Sheriff Emery Gainey and Democratic candidate Chad Scott. The recount started Sunday at the Supervisor of Elections office and is open to the public. It will continue each day starting at 8 a.m. until all votes are counted.
President-elect Donald Trump is shaping up his administration, announcing his first cabinet picks and appointees. President Biden will host President-elect Trump at the White House on Wednesday.
A week after Election Day, and President-elect Trump is filling his cabinet. Mr. Trump is expected to tap Senator Marco Rubio for Secretary of State, although sources say he could still change his mind. Trump is also seeking to fulfill one of his top campaign promises, naming Tom Homan as the border czar who will lead his mass deportation efforts.
If you're in the country illegally, you shouldn't feel comfortable. Absolutely not. I won't feel comfortable if I'm in the country illegally.
Homan sending a stern warning to governors opposed to the plan.
They better get the hell out of the way. Either you help us or get the hell out of the way.
Homan's message, a possible sign of things to come under Trump's second term. The president-elect meets with President Biden Wednesday to discuss a peaceful transition of power. Meanwhile, Democrats on Capitol Hill are preparing to fight back against policies proposed under Trump's second term.
Stephen Miller and Tom Homan were the architects of a lot of the first Trump administration horrific immigration policies. And so family separation, mass detentions, those kinds of things is what was promised and by the Trump administration, and I think what we're going to have to fight.
Senator-elect Ruben Gallego won Arizona. The GOP has an edge in both the Senate and the House. Senate Republicans are gearing up for a leadership battle. President-elect Trump urging those vying for majority leader to allow recess appointments where he could install certain positions without Senate confirmation.
This preemptive effort to install cabinet members by recess appointments, this is a Trump feature.
Senators will vote on a majority leader Wednesday. In Washington, Bree Jackson, NBC News.
Coming up on First at 5, we'll tell you how one church is finding ways to help serve the community. And several veterans cast out to catch an amazing time celebrating veterans with an interesting twist. We'll have more when we come back.
You're watching WUFT-TV News.
Welcome back. The University of Florida Institute of Food and Agricultural Sciences hosted a Veterans Day barbecue to honor those who served.
WUFT's Eva Garcia joined us live in the studio to tell us about the day filled with activities.
It was calming for all who attended. Veterans and their families met up at UF Fisheries to enjoy a day of fishing, food, and relaxation. I watched as they took it all in. A day with nature to honor those who protect the land.
We want to honor vets. I mean, they've done so much for the country.
Retired director of the Fishing for Success program, Chuck Secra, veterans and their families gathered to fish. They say it helps them deal with the difficulties that can come with serving.
You can come for an hour, you can come for 4 hours.
It's an opportunity veteran Simone Stevens doesn't take for granted.
You know, when you get out, you're not around your people no more, and you with them every day, so events like this brings them back together.
Veteran and fisheries volunteer Bob Santafonte has experienced anxiety and depression. Fishing puts him at ease.
If I'm out here a lot, something like this is very helpful.
In addition to the Veterans Day barbecue, UF EFOS holds family fishing days monthly, free to the public and run by volunteers.
Family Fishing Day is open for all people, and it's even if you don't know anything about fishing, that's why we're here. We're here to help you.
And it's veteran approved. The Veterans Day barbecue was the last family fishing day of this year. However, the events will return to the public in March. Live from the studio, Eva Garcia, WUFT News.
The Florida Fire Service will host the 16th annual Fallen Firefighter Memorial Concert Thursday at 7 p.m. The concert will include honor guard teams and fire trucks performing a Walk of Honor service through the streets of Ocala, as well as a memorial of Chuck Westfall. The Fallen Firefighter Memorial will be held Friday at the morning at Florida State Fire College. And Citrus County Fire Rescue will host its Here to Help event November 21st from 10 in the morning until 2 in the afternoon. The event will provide support to those facing challenges with housing, substance use, or mental health conditions. It'll be at St. Benedict Catholic Church in Crystal River and is open to anyone who feels they could benefit.
An Alachua County church aims to fight hunger through community outreach events. Upper Room Ministries is a Northeast Gainesville church dedicated to helping the community. With the help of sponsors such as Aetna, the church holds food drives every Tuesday. Weekly food drives are a promise the church has made to the community. That promise is one rooted in gratitude. Pastor Pearlie Shelton says food insecurity is a major issue in Gainesville.
We're appreciative of everything that God has blessed us to get to be a blessing to others.
The church welcomes people from all walks of life.
The tropics are still active in November, and this is looking like it could be our next named storm. I'll have that and our weekend forecast after the break.
You're watching WUFT-TV News.
Even though it's mid-November, the tropics are still active, and although there is nothing organized on infrared satellite right now, there is still a lot of tropical moisture in the Caribbean right now, and that tropical moisture is expected to move its way towards the west into this region with high sea surface temperatures and low wind shear. That's why it's a 90% chance it could become our next tropical storm by the end of this week. In the next 48 hours, it's about a 60% chance that it could develop into our next named storm. So we're going to be watching this very closely as it starts to go into time. Now, if it doesn't even seem like an if, it seems like a when at this point. It would become Sarah without an H, not to be confused, Sarah with an H. Now I'm going to show you a Futurecast GFS model. This is a model, not a forecast, so a lot could change still. This is going to be later next week. We could start to feel impacts. Now it gets developed really quickly. Again, warm sea surface temperatures and low wind shear, great for the development of storms. This is Saturday night, very strong storm in the Caribbean, then it starts to move northwestward in between Cuba and the Yucatan next Tuesday morning, and from there there's a lot of a lot could change still. A lot of uncertainty as to where that storm is going to move as it makes its way into the Gulf of Mexico. We're going to keep you posted on that. Right now, though, it's a beautiful day on our campus cam. A couple overhead clouds, temperature 79 degrees. And even though those clouds are overhead, we've seen like 1 or 2 sprinkles this morning, but it's going to be a beautiful night. Temperatures right now, 79 degrees in Gainesville, 81 in Ocala, and 78 in Stark, setting up to be a very beautiful Tuesday night. Those clouds are, it could look like those clouds as the sun starts to set. Once that sun gets towards the horizon, get those cotton candy colored clouds. Those temperatures are going to go into the 60s tonight with some cloud coverage overhead. Not going to be too cloudy or very much rain as we head into tonight. That rain is going to kind of stay to the west of 75, move its way off into the Atlantic. Cloud coverage starts to subside as we head into tonight. So the rain chances are going to be low tonight, around 10%. Going to keep it around there. And when we're waking up tomorrow morning, temperatures are going to be in the 60s. Now this weekend, LSU at Florida, it's going to be a beautiful day in the swamp. So if you are going to the game, kick off at 3:30. Temperature is going to be 73 degrees. That's like room temperature water, or room temperature air conditioning, sorry. And then as we head into later tonight, the temperatures are going to get into the 60s. It's going to be pretty chilly on Saturday. The rest of the weekend is going to be a beautiful weekend looking over the beach. If you want to go to the beach, it's going to be a beautiful weekend to do that. And those dew points are also going to drop. So it's pretty muggy outside right now, but as we head into Friday and Saturday, those dew points are going to drop into the 40s. It's going to feel very pleasant and very refreshing. So if you're going to go outside, you're going to feel a noticeable difference. And you can see that cold front moving through Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Highs in the low 70s, and then those lows are going to be in the 50s. It's going to be very chilly this weekend.
While Florida men's basketball is coming off a sizable win over Grambling State last night, the Gators women's squad is set to take to the hardwood tonight for some action of their own. And we're live from the Stephen C. O'Connell Center with a look ahead at tonight's Gators women's basketball game. All that and more after the break.
You're watching WUFT-TV News.
I'm Jack Meyer here with everything you need to know about what's going on in the wide world of sports today. We're starting off at the Stephen C. O'Connell Center, where the Florida Gators women's basketball team is set to play host to Chicago State this evening. WUFT's Scarlett Cooney is live at the O-Dome with more on what to expect from UF in tonight's matchup.
Gators women's basketball returns to the court tonight as they host Chicago State at 7. Florida's last outing was a 102-67 beating of Florida A&M on Thursday. The Gators' first 100-plus point performance since December 2023 featured 6 players in double figures. Florida hasn't faced Chicago State since their last and only meeting in 2000, when Florida secured a 79-30 win in Chicago. Now the Cougars are in Gainesville for the first time, hoping to snap their 3-game losing streak, while the Gators aim to make it 4. Live outside the O'Connell Center, Scarlett Cooney, WUFT Sports.
Thanks, Scarlett. And meanwhile, Florida men's basketball has endured a roller coaster of a week in itself, but the Gators still emerged victorious in an impressive win over Grambling State last night. Head coach Todd Golden remains on Florida's sideline amid an ongoing Title IX investigation regarding alleged sexual misconduct. Nevertheless, the Gators looked anything but distracted last night. 5 players hit double digits in the scoring column as sophomore center Ruben Chinyelu led the way with 14 points on 7 for 8 shooting. UF will return to the hardwood on Friday for a road showdown against the Florida State Seminoles. Now let's take the show on over to Condren Ballpark, where the Florida Gators baseball team is fresh off a doubleheader against USF. WUFT's Madison Walker has everything you need to know about what you may have missed from an eventful weekend of fall ball.
On Sunday, November 12th, the Florida Gator baseball team played their last exhibition game of the fall until their 2025 spring season, set to open up on February 14th. The new Gator team took on the University of South Florida Bulls in a 14-inning doubleheader. What was originally supposed to be a 15-inning game, consisting of 8 and then 7, had a last-minute change due to Gainesville weather having other plans. In Game 1, the game was pushed back almost 45 minutes due to rain delays in the 6th inning, but this didn't stop the Gators' momentum, still coming out on top in Game 1, 5-0. Part of this win can be attributed to new outfielder Kyle Jones. The Stetson transfer led the first at-bat of the game with a home run, something that stands as a symbol for this brand-new Gator team. However, Florida was not as successful in Game 2, losing to the Bulls 2-0. Kyle Jones gave his thoughts after the game on what the team will work on until the next time they're seen against an opponent in February.
There's many things we need to work on now. I mean, the strikes, pitch, everything on the field. We can only get better. So, we're just gonna continue to keep doing that, come in every day, and we're good at our work now.
Jones is far from the only new face to this roster. With almost a brand new team full of transfers and freshmen, many fans were excited to see how things were falling into place as the 2025 season approaches.
Now flipping on over from the diamond to the gridiron, Florida football is looking to get back on track following a demoralizing loss to number 3 Texas this past weekend. The Gators were outscored 35-0 in the first half, paving the way for an all-around dominant victory for the Longhorns. Now Florida is set to return to Ben Hill Griffin Stadium this weekend to play host to the number 21 LSU Tigers. With freshman quarterback DJ Lagway on the verge of returning from a hamstring injury, UF head coach Billy Napier hopes to see a healthier version of his squad take to the field this weekend.
We do anticipate getting healthier, hopeful to get a handful of these guys back this week. And we had a lot of them that were close to being available this past Saturday that didn't quite turn around in time. But in general, a very important week. We're excited to be back home.
Kickoff between the Gators and Tigers is set for 3:30 p.m. at Ben Hill Griffin Stadium this Saturday. Meanwhile, the Florida Gators volleyball team jumped a spot in the latest AVCA Top 25 poll following another strong weekend of action across the board. The Gators are currently riding a 7-match win streak, which they extended this past weekend with a pair of victories over Auburn and Alabama. Florida now sits at number 21 in the country, marking their highest ranking in the AVCA poll since October 7th. Up next for the Gators is a road contest with the number 25 Missouri Tigers this Friday. First point there is set for 8 p.m. And finally, the Miami Dolphins came away with a 23-15 win over the Los Angeles Rams on Monday night. The win snapped an unprecedented losing skid in the Sunshine State as every other Florida football team active this weekend, both in the FBS and the NFL, had lost their respective games. Just insane just to think about, just every single team this weekend lost except the Dolphins.
Well, Jack, I've said it before and I'll say it again. I come from a long line of Dolphins fans, and I know that if no other teams got me, the Finns got me. It's always great to see a win, and yeah, I'm super excited.
The Dolphins, they've been through more than enough this season at this point. The Tua injury skid, and then just all the backups, the shuffling under center. It was a much-needed win for them. That being said, they are still 3-6, so we'll see what they can do in the back half of the season.
We don't talk about that record. But anyways, looking ahead, we do see some sunny skies over in this weekend.
So, Matthew.
Yeah. I mean, this past weekend it was pretty cloudy actually, but this weekend it's looking to be a much nicer weekend. We're getting a cold front around Thursday into Friday, and you can see those temperatures going from the 80s to the low 70s, and then those lows being in the low 50s. So it's actually going to be pretty chilly. Getting a hint of that fall weather on Saturday and Sunday morning when you're waking up, and as we head into Monday and Tuesday, temperature is going to start to rise again. Thanks for joining us. We're back here tomorrow for another edition of First at 5.
But your North Central Florida news is always on at WUFT.org and on all our social media platforms. Have a good night.